What if the person you trusted most in the world was hiding the biggest secret of your life? If you enjoy stories about courage, mystery, and triumph over betrayal, like this story, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more tales that will keep you up at night. Now, let's begin. The night everything fell apart. My name is Victoria Cross, and 3 years ago, I had what I thought was a perfect life. I was one of Atlanta's top real estate brokers. I had closed deals worth millions. I drove a beautiful car. I wore designer clothes. My husband, Marcus Sterling, was handsome, successful, and, or so I believed, completely devoted to me. But perfect lives have secrets hidden underneath, like termites eating away at a beautiful house's foundation. That night started like any other Friday. Marcus had attended a charity gala downtown, one of those fancy events where rich people pretend to care about causes while really just showing off their wealth. He texted me around 11 o'clock. "Running late, babe. Don't wait up." I didn't think twice about it. I was working in my home office, going through contracts and property listings. My job never really stops. Real estate is about timing, about knowing when to strike and when to wait. I didn't know then that I would need that exact same skill to survive what was coming. Around 1:30 in the morning, I heard Marcus's car pull into our driveway. I heard the garage door open then close. His footsteps came up the stairs, slowly, carefully, as if he didn't want to wake me. But I was awake. I heard something else too. A smell. Whiskey mixed with something flowery and sweet. Perfume. Not my perfume. My heart did a strange thing then. It didn't jump. It didn't race. It just stopped, like a car hitting a wall. I told myself I was being paranoid. Marcus worked with lots of women. Maybe someone had hugged him. Maybe he'd danced with someone at the gala. There had to be a simple explanation. I didn't want to know the truth yet. Marcus came into our bedroom quietly. In the darkness, I watched him undress. He moved like he was trying not to disturb anything, or maybe like he was guilty. He went into the bathroom and closed the door. I heard the shower run. While he showered, I did something I had never done before in our 5 years of marriage. I went through his jacket. My hands were shaking so badly, I could barely feel the fabric. In the inside pocket, I found his wallet, his phone, some cash. Nothing strange. But then my fingers touched something small and smooth in the front pocket. A keychain. It was shaped like a heart. Pink. Bright pink. The kind of thing no adult man buys for himself. The kind of thing a woman buys for a man she loves. My throat went dry. I turned the keychain over in my hands. On the back was an engraving. "To my sweet M, forever yours. C." C. Who was C? With trembling fingers, I dug deeper into the jacket pocket. That's when I found the note. It was folded twice, written on pink paper that matched the keychain. The handwriting was loose and happy, the kind of writing that belongs to someone who feels loved and excited about life. "My dearest M, I know we have to keep this secret for now, but it won't be forever. I believe in you. I believe in us." That gala was amazing, wasn't it? Seeing you there, even though we had to pretend we didn't know each other, was torture. But it made me smile knowing what we have. What we're building. I quit my job today. I'm taking out that loan like we talked about. I'm ready to start our new life. You said September, and I trust you. I'm so ready to be Mrs. M. To be your wife. To have it all in the open. I love you more than I love breathing. Forever. C. The note fell from my hands onto the carpet. Mrs. M. wife. September. The shower turned off upstairs. I heard Marcus wrapping a towel around himself. He would be back in the bedroom in seconds. I shoved the keychain and note back into his jacket pocket as fast as I could. My mind was racing. My hands were numb. I felt like I was watching someone else's life fall apart, like I was sitting in a theater watching a movie about a woman whose world had just exploded. I scrambled back into bed and lay there in the darkness, pretending to sleep, my heart pounding so hard I was sure Marcus could hear it. He climbed into bed next to me. He didn't touch me. He just lay there, breathing quietly, and fell asleep almost immediately. I stared at the ceiling for the rest of the night. My perfect life was a lie. The decision. By the time sunlight came through our bedroom window, I had cried and stopped crying at least a dozen times. My face was blotchy. My eyes were swollen. I felt like I had been beaten up from the inside. Marcus woke up around 8 o'clock, stretched, and kissed my forehead casually, like any other Saturday morning. Like he hadn't just destroyed everything. "Morning, beautiful," he said, his voice warm and easy. "Want me to make breakfast?" I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw things. I wanted to ask him who C was and why he was planning to marry her in September. Instead, I said, "Sure. That sounds nice." My voice was steady. That surprised me. Marcus got out of bed and went downstairs. I heard him in the kitchen, opening cabinets, turning on the stove. He whistled while he cooked. He actually whistled. I lay in bed and made a decision. I could confront him right now. I could throw the note in his face and watch his face fall apart. I could let rage and pain guide my next moves. Or I could be smart. I could be the way I was in business, calm, strategic, careful. I could gather information. I could build a case. I could find out everything before I showed my hand. Because here's what I knew. If I confronted Marcus now, he would lie. He would minimize. He would probably convince me that I was overreacting or misunderstanding. Men like Marcus are good at that. They're good at making women doubt their own eyes. But if I waited, if I gathered proof, if I understood the full scope of what was happening, then I could make decisions from a place of power instead of pain. I got out of bed and looked at myself in the mirror. I looked like someone who was falling apart. I needed to look like someone who had everything under control. I showered. I put on makeup. I blow-dried my hair. I wore one of my favorite outfits, a cream-colored dress that made me look confident and strong. When I went downstairs, Marcus had made eggs and toast and fresh squeezed orange juice. He smiled at me like I was the most precious thing in the world. "You look beautiful this morning," he said. I smiled back. "Thank you. You know what? I think I'm going to need your help with something." "Anything," he said, meaning it, or seeming to mean it. "You know I'd do anything for you." I believed him then. Just for a moment, I believed he meant it. "I need to hire someone," I said carefully. "A professional. Someone who can help me with a delicate situation. Someone very discreet." Marcus's fork paused halfway to his mouth. Something flickered across his face. Concern? Curiosity? Guilt? "What kind of situation?" he asked. "A business matter," I said smoothly. "One of my clients is worried about a property manager who might be stealing. I need someone to investigate quietly, before we make any accusations." It was a lie. It was also exactly the kind of thing that would make sense to Marcus. He nodded slowly. "I know someone," he said finally. "A private investigator. He's very good. Very careful. His name is James Morgan. I can get you his number." "Perfect. That would be wonderful," I said, taking a sip of my orange juice. As I looked at my husband across the breakfast table, I realized something. The woman I was before, the woman who trusted completely, who believed in fairy tales, who thought her marriage was solid and true, that woman was gone. In her place was someone sharper. Someone who had been hurt and was ready to fight back. The real battle was just beginning, and I was going to win. I called James Morgan on Monday morning from my office. The private investigator picked up on the second ring, and his voice was exactly what I needed: calm, professional, no judgment. "I need someone investigated," I said without preamble. "Two people, actually. I need to know everything. Where they go, who they talk to, what they do when they think nobody is watching. And I need it done discreetly." "That's what I do," James said simply. "Tell me their names." I gave him Marcus's name. Then I gave him the initial of the woman from the note, C. I told him about the pink keychain, the letter, the promise of marriage in September. "I need proof," I said quietly. "I need conversations, photographs, messages, anything that shows they're having an affair. I need it documented legally so that if I need it in court, it will hold up." James didn't ask me if I was sure. He didn't try to talk me out of it or suggest I confront Marcus first. He just listened and took notes. "This will take time," he said. "A week minimum, maybe 2. These things can't be rushed. but I'm very thorough. If there's something there, I'll find it. How much does it cost? I asked. He quoted me a number. It was high. It was also less than what I made in a single real estate deal. I didn't hesitate. Do it, I said. And send me updates by encrypted email only. No phone calls. Nobody can know about this. We hung up, and I sat at my desk feeling like I had just stepped off a cliff. There was no going back now. I had set wheels in motion that would either save me or destroy me. Over the next week, I watched Marcus carefully. I memorized his schedule. He left for the office at 8 every morning. He came home around 6. He spent time on his phone, texting someone, his face lighting up in a way I hadn't seen in months. He took calls in the garage where I couldn't hear him. He was sloppy about hiding it, which meant he was confident I would never find out. That made me angrier than anything else. On Wednesday, James sent me the first batch of photographs. I opened them on my encrypted email at work, making sure nobody could see my screen. The images were crystal clear. Marcus and a woman, C, presumably, meeting at a hotel downtown. Not just any hotel. The Platinum Tower. The nicest hotel in Atlanta. They went up to a room together at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They came down at 5. There were photographs of them laughing together at a restaurant. Her hand on his arm around her waist. They looked like a couple, not like people having a secret affair. They looked happy. My stomach twisted. The next email from James contained audio files. I plugged in my headphones and listened to Marcus on the phone with his friend Terrence. My hands shook as I listened to my husband's voice. She's still talking about September, Marcus was saying. About being Mrs. Sterling. About leaving her job, taking out loans. I never promised her September, Terrence. I said maybe someday. But she heard what she wanted to hear. You need to tell her the truth, man, Terrence said in the background. I will, Marcus said. But not yet. I just want one more year of freedom. One more year before I have to settle down and be a good boy. Victoria is a good wife, she is. But she's work, you know? She's always on her phone. She's always thinking about real estate and deals. With Chloe, it's different. It's easy. It's fun. Chloe. So C was Chloe. But what made my blood run absolutely cold was what Marcus said next. As for the money, he continued, I'm going to let Chloe keep her apartment for now. I'll help her out with the loan she's taking. But I'm not leaving Victoria. Victoria has too much money, too many connections. I'd lose everything in a divorce. So I'm just going to keep both of them happy until I figure out what I really want. He was going to keep both of them. He was going to take Chloe's money and her love while stringing her along with promises of marriage. And he was going to keep me around for my wealth and my connections. I had to stop listening. I had to take off the headphones because I felt like I was going to be sick. But I also felt something else. Something cold and clear and sharp. I felt like a warrior getting ready for battle. If you're watching this right now, whether you're in New York or London or sitting on your couch in Los Angeles, you need to like this story if it's speaking to your heart. Share it with someone who needs to know they're not alone when life breaks them. And subscribe because Victoria's story is about to get a lot more intense. What happens next will change everything. By the following Monday, James had compiled a full dossier on Chloe Jensen. She was 28 years old. She worked as a marketing manager at a tech company. She had recently quit her job, just like the note said. She had taken out a $150,000 loan from a bank. She had rented a new apartment closer to downtown, somewhere Marcus could easily visit. She had also posted photos on social media of a diamond promise ring that Marcus had given her. The captions were full of emojis and words like forever and he chose me. She had no idea that the man she loved was choosing someone else too. I sat in my office and looked at Chloe's picture. She was beautiful in a young, hopeful way. She had long dark hair and bright eyes that sparkled with happiness. She looked like someone who believed in love. Like someone who believed the promises that men like Marcus made to her. I felt something shift inside me. It wasn't anger at Chloe. It was anger at Marcus. And it was something else, something that felt almost like protection. This girl was about to have her entire world turned upside down. She had quit her job and taken out a massive loan based on lies. She was going to lose everything because of Marcus's greed and his cruelty. That's when I decided that my plan wasn't just going to be about getting what was mine. It was going to be about making sure Marcus paid for what he had done to both of us. I scheduled a private investigator's follow-up meeting for Wednesday evening at a coffee shop downtown. James brought me a USB drive filled with videos, photographs, audio recordings, and documented proof of Marcus's infidelity. Everything was labeled, dated, and legal. "This is solid," James said quietly, sliding the drive across the table to me. "If you need this in court, it will hold up. You have him on audio admitting to the affair. You have photographs of them together. You have financial records showing he's been supporting her. You have everything you need." I took the drive with trembling fingers. "What about her? Chloe? Is she a good person?" James shrugged. "From what I can tell, she's just a girl in love with the wrong man. She has no idea he's married. She thinks he's going to marry her. She thinks they have a future. She needs to know the truth," I said quietly. "That's your decision," James said. "But I'd be careful how you handle that. She might run straight to your husband and tell him you know." "Let her," I said. "I'm ready." As I drove home that night, the USB drive on my passenger seat felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. I had the proof. I had the ammunition. I had everything I needed to blow up my marriage and walk away with what was rightfully mine. But I also had something else. I had a choice. I could use this information to destroy Marcus completely. I could take him to court. I could take half of everything we owned, the house, the investments, the retirement accounts. I could expose his infidelity publicly and watch his career crumble under the weight of scandal. Or I could be smarter than that. I could use the information to orchestrate something bigger. Something that would not only protect me, but would also free Chloe from the trap she was walking into. I could turn this tragedy into something redemptive. By the time I pulled into my driveway, I knew what I was going to do. I was going to set a trap. And I was going to make sure that when it snapped shut, Marcus Sterling would have nowhere left to run. The hunt was on. The next morning, I did something that terrified me. I called Chloe. I had found her number through James's investigation. My hands were shaking as I dialed it. When she answered, her voice was bright and innocent and full of life. "Hello," she said, like she was greeting a friend. "My name is Victoria Cross," I said quietly. "I'm Marcus Sterling's wife. I think we need to talk." There was a long silence. Then, very quietly, Chloe said, "I don't know what you're talking about." "Yes, you do," I said gently. "And I'm not calling to hurt you. I'm calling because you deserve the truth. Can we meet?" We met at a small cafe on the other side of town. Chloe arrived first. I watched her through the window before I went in. She was nervously playing with a napkin, glancing at the door every few seconds. She looked terrified. When I sat down across from her, I could see the moment she realized I wasn't there to be cruel. There was no anger in my face. There was only sadness and understanding. "He lied to you," I said simply. "About everything. About leaving me. About marrying you in September. About who he really is." Over the next 2 hours, I showed Chloe the photographs. I played her the audio recordings. I watched her heartbreak in real time as she realized the man she loved was a liar and a cheat and someone who didn't deserve her devotion. She cried. She got angry. She said things about Marcus that were true and brutal. But then, slowly, something changed in her eyes. The heartbreak didn't go away, but it was joined by something else. Clarity. Understanding. The beginning of healing. "What are you going to do?" Chloe asked me. "I'm going to take him to court," I said. "I'm going to make sure he pays for what he's done. But I need your help. I need you to testify about the promises he made. I need you to tell the judge how he manipulated you into quitting your job and taking out that loan." Chloe looked at me for a long moment. Then she nodded. "I'll do it. I want him to understand what he did to me." The divorce proceedings began 3 weeks later. Marcus showed up at court with an expensive lawyer. He looked confused at first, like he couldn't believe I would actually do this. His confusion quickly turned to anger when he realized I had evidence. My lawyer presented everything methodically. The photographs, the audio recordings, the financial records showing Marcus's support of Chloe, the text messages where Marcus admitted he had no intention of leaving me. Marcus's lawyer tried to minimize the evidence. He argued that a man could have a moment of weakness and still be a good husband. He tried to paint me as a vindictive ex who was making mountains out of molehills. But then Chloe took the stand. She was nervous, but she was brave. She told the judge about the promises Marcus made. She talked about quitting her job based on his assurances. She described the loan she had taken out because she believed they had a future together. She spoke about the heartbreak of discovering that none of it was real. When Chloe finished testifying, even the judge's expression had softened. The judge ruled in my favor. Marcus had to split our assets equally. The house, which we had bought together and which I had renovated and improved over 5 years, would be divided fairly. Marcus had to pay me $500,000 in emotional damages. He had to pay Chloe's legal fees for filing a separate civil suit against him for fraud. But more importantly, the judge issued a statement that echoed through the courtroom like thunder. "Mr. Sterling," the judge said, looking over his glasses at my soon-to-be ex-husband, "you have demonstrated a profound lack of character. You have betrayed your wife. You have manipulated a young woman into making life-changing decisions based on your lies. This court finds your behavior not just wrong, but contemptible. The law can only do so much to punish that, but I can ensure that the consequences are severe." Marcus's face went pale. If you're watching this and you've ever felt betrayed by someone you loved, if you've ever felt small or stupid for trusting the wrong person, I want you to know that you're not alone. Like this story. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe because real life has plot twists that Hollywood could never write. After the divorce was finalized, my life changed in ways I couldn't have predicted. I threw myself into my real estate career, and it exploded. My reputation as a woman who couldn't be manipulated, who was smart and strategic, actually made clients trust me more. I closed bigger deals. I made more money, but money didn't heal me. Success didn't fill the emptiness that Marcus left behind. That's when I met Elijah Davis. He was an orthopedic surgeon who came to me looking for a property investment. He was quiet, thoughtful, and completely honest in a way that made me nervous at first. I had been hurt. I didn't know if I could trust my own judgment anymore. But Elijah was patient. He didn't push. He just showed up consistently. He was kind without being weak. He was strong without being controlling. Over months of conversations, first about real estate and then about life, I realized that I was falling in love with someone who was actually trustworthy. A year after my divorce was finalized, Elijah proposed. Not with a big, flashy ring or a public spectacle. He proposed in our kitchen on a regular Tuesday evening, with genuine tears in his eyes, telling me that I was the strongest, most remarkable woman he had ever met and that he wanted to spend the rest of his life making sure I never doubted myself again. I said yes. 2 years later, our daughter Zoe was born. She had Elijah's calm eyes and my determination. When I held her for the first time, I cried not from sadness, but from gratitude. I cried because I had survived the worst thing that had ever happened to me and come out the other side, not just intact, but better. Marcus's life, meanwhile, had fallen apart. His infidelity became public knowledge in Atlanta's business circles. Clients didn't trust him anymore. He struggled to maintain his career. His relationship with Chloe had ended. She had used the settlement money to go back to school and start her own business. She had built a new life from the ashes of her heartbreak. I ran into Chloe at a coffee shop about 5 years after the divorce. She was wearing professional clothes and carrying a leather briefcase. She had started her own marketing consulting firm and was doing well. When she saw me, she smiled, a real smile, not bitter or angry, but genuinely grateful. "I wanted to thank you," Chloe said, sitting down across from me, "for telling me the truth. It was the most painful day of my life, but it was also the day I started living my real life. I would never have had the courage to leave him if you hadn't shown me who he really was." We talked for an hour. We weren't friends, exactly, but we were something. We were two women who had been hurt by the same man and had chosen to heal instead of staying broken. As I look back on everything that happened, I don't see my story as one of revenge or victory. I see it as a story about courage. The courage to face the truth even when it destroys you. The courage to be strategic instead of emotional. The courage to fight for what's right instead of what's easy. Justice isn't just about punishing the guilty. It's about protecting the innocent. It's about making sure that liars and cheaters understand that their actions have consequences. It's about creating space for truth to flourish. I learned that forgiveness doesn't mean you have to stay in a relationship with someone who betrays you. Forgiveness means you let go of the bitterness, so it doesn't poison your own life. I forgave Marcus not for his sake, but for mine. I forgave him so I could move forward without carrying his weight. When Zoe is older, I'll tell her this story. I'll tell her that love is real and beautiful and worth believing in. But I'll also tell her that love without honesty is just a pretty lie. I'll tell her that she is strong enough to leave situations that hurt her. I'll tell her that her worth doesn't come from a man's approval or validation. It comes from inside her, from the choices she makes, from the integrity she maintains even when nobody's watching. The heart-shaped key that started this whole journey is still in a box in my closet. I kept it not as a reminder of pain, but as a reminder of transformation. It's a symbol of the moment my old life ended and my real life began. Some people think that's a sad ending, but I know the truth. It's not an ending at all. It's a beginning. It's the moment I stopped being a victim and became the hero of my own story. That's what I wish for you, whoever you are, wherever you are in your own journey. I wish for you the strength to face hard truths. I wish for you the wisdom to see manipulation before it destroys you. I wish for you the courage to walk away from love that isn't real. And I wish for you what I found on the other side of the pain, a love that's honest, a life that's true, a future that's yours to build exactly the way you want it. That's the real treasure. That's what makes it all worth it.